show, 5-Star Fam. I'm AJ, and this is Michael. Before we get into it, become part of the notification squad by hitting the bell next to the subscribe button on YouTube. Welcome to another episode of 5-Stripe Weekly, and of course, Atlanta United season has ended, but the flurry of moves that just began. And yeah, we will get into the number of off-season moves and end-of-season moves for Atlanta United. But before we get too deep into all of that, let's give a shout-out to our Patreon members, and notably Gavin Marshall, Jordan Beck, Nal Faruqi, Andrew Rowicki, Ariel Acosta, and Chris James. But yes, and as well, a reminder to subscribe if you're new here. We are on the road to 10,000 subs. So yeah, do us a favor as well. Don't be a freeloader. Smash that like button. But anyway, so let's actually get into the news now. And I would say probably like the biggest news for the city of Atlanta is that the CONMEBOL, the Copa America 2024, is coming to Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And yeah, very huge news for Atlanta soccer, as yeah, it will definitely be a marker for big tournaments in Atlanta. There is also going to be at Inter Miami's stadium as well for the Copa America final, I believe. And so yeah, we'll have one of the kind of early stages. One of the matches.
We have the opener.
Yeah, we have the opener. So yeah, very awesome. And yeah, that's it's gonna be not fake grass. It's gonna be real grass rather, in the stadium. And yeah, just kind of one time only. They won't keep it in there, but yeah, super awesome. Like, what do you think?
It's super exciting. There's a chance that Team USA is actually gonna play in Atlanta, and I can go watch that here. That's really exciting to me. And if they're going up against another exciting team from South America, that would be really hype. Like Argentina would be kind of scary, obviously, but Brazil looks like they can be got after, so that would be fun to see. America versus Brazil. Yeah, I mean, this is, like we said multiple times in the past, the product of Garth Lagerwey wanting U.S. Soccer's headquarters to come to Atlanta. We're starting to see more eyes on Atlanta. We're starting to see more soccer-focused events. Copa America is a big one, and we get the opener. And a lot of times, the opener has the host city or host country, which in this case is the United States in big tournaments. And that could be us playing there then in Atlanta. So I really would love to see the United States play here. It'd be a great excuse to get out to go see this game. And it would be really exciting to see if they were able to beat a team from South America. It wouldn't be as interesting if they were playing against another one of their CONCACAF rivals like Canada or Mexico. Mexico would be pretty crazy, as it always is, but I would really like to see a South American team go up against the United States in Atlanta.
Yeah, because yeah, Mexico, that might be a home game for Mexico, unfortunately. But
100%.
Yeah, but for any of the other countries, yeah, I think we stand a better chance to at least have it feel like more of a home game. But yeah, definitely awesome stuff. And yeah, it's going to be a madhouse, I'm sure. And I'm sure those tickets are also going to be insane and probably unaffordable for a lot of people. So it'll be just one of those things, unfortunately. But at least, yeah, maybe some people can, I guess, camp out outside and see it from the Halo board a little bit. But yeah, we'll see. But anyway, moving on to those aforementioned end-of-season roster moves. And yes, so the 18 players that are already under contract for 2024, the club exercised the contract option for Aiden McFadden. And yeah, there are 3 more players set to join the team on January 1st. But yeah, the club declined contract options on 5 players, and 6 other players are out of contract. Options for Machop Chol, Jackson Conway, Clement Diop, Justin Garces, Efren Morales were all declined. And meanwhile, Ozzy Alonso, Miguel Berry, Miles Robinson, Mateus Josetu, Amar Sadic, and Quentin Westberg are all out of contract. But the club they're remaining in renewal negotiations with Morales, Robinson, and Westberg. But also the loans for Juanjo Purata and Sean Da Silva, they expire at the end of the calendar year. And the club declined the transfer option on Purata, and they still have yet to make a determination. On Silva's transfer option. Now, there's a lot of other news that came in after that as well, but getting into, who got declined, who got, pretty much didn't bring back or didn't get brought back. Were there some surprises for you?
Yeah, the only head scratcher for me is Garces. I mean, we're looking at possibly having some lack of depth in the goalkeeper position in the near future, since we let go of Diop officially, and Westberg is probably on the outs as well. Seems to me we're going to be needing some goalkeepers, and I'm pretty sure he was a young upstart with solid potential, and I'm interested to know what the reasoning is there that they declined him or didn't want to move on with him. So that's the only real head scratcher for me. The other ones I can see arguments for why they were moved, why they were declined, etc.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the biggest one that stands out for me for sure. For all the reasons that you mentioned, but also, it is perplexing because he is, someone that, I mean, yes, a very young goalkeeper and probably, unfortunately, maybe not developed fully yet, but that's the type of player I think you keep in your goalkeeping corps to develop him, and eventually, I mean, it used to be where the older you were as a goalkeeper, the more valuable you were a little bit, and but now it's of course going and skewing a little younger, but you would see players just kind of get kept, and maybe they just didn't see enough of development from year to year, and maybe Justin Garces also wanted to, find pastures new. So who knows? But I think also Machop Chol, he had his usefulness, I think, during the season, as he's kind of a freak a little bit in terms of, in a good way. Like him being like 6'3", but also nimble on his feet, and able to play a few different positions. I think there was use with him, but I think ultimately maybe it's his age and maybe the growth potential just not quite being there. And so I think eventually becomes where, you don't want to keep giving raises where you don't really see the, ultimate potential. So it's probably a little bit of that. Of course, the big one is Miles Robinson. And
just for a second on Machop, you're going to lose a lot of personality in the locker room too.
Oh, for sure.
That guy was a big hit. Like you can see on social media, always chirping back and forth with his teammates. It's you're gonna lose a lot of personality there.
For sure, and multiple languages, and even the Atlanta United social media team, they acknowledged it. Like everybody loves Machop Chol. It's like it's hard not to like the guy, and you had everybody from Thiago Almada to the new guys. They're all like best buddies with him, and it seems like he's got maybe the ability to speak different languages maybe as well, so he's able to converse with everybody and have some banter with everybody, and I think that's the best part there. Miles Robinson, like I was mentioning, is probably the biggest one, and it is obviously the contract has been on the table for an extension for a couple years now, but obviously Miles Robinson, he should probably move to Europe. Let's just be real. Like his time is now. He's I believe 26 years old. Like
if it's not now, when?
Exactly. Like if he doesn't, he could sign a DP contract here. I mean, if there are new roster kind of expansion on the DP roles, yes, you could see maybe Robinson as somebody, but it also, some people speculated that Robinson maybe was down tooling a little bit, maybe trying to maybe preserve himself a bit so that he's not injured before his big move. Because yes, he did get injured before the World Cup, and I'm sure that's like fresh on his brain still, and it is something that, for self-preservation purposes, it's something that, okay, maybe he isn't as prolific of a defender as, he previously was. I think, he's still probably good enough to make a move to, a side in Europe that, could be playing in Champions League. So that PSV Eindhoven rumor is probably a very good scenario for him. And, if I were him, if it was real, I mean, it's a no-brainer a little bit. But, and as well, Carlos Bocanegra, he spoke to the media, and he said he plans on being back in 2024. And, yes, that's Gonzalo Pineda and his staff will return as well. But, yeah, Boca, he spoke on Pineda and basically said, well, I think on the tactical side, I would let coach speak to that from his point of view. But I think, when we look back at 21, when he came in, helped us guide us into the playoffs and ended up tied for fourth on points with New York City, and ended up having to go over there, lost to them away. We had a really tumultuous year last year. And then this year, we're in the playoff hunt the whole year. And, I thought we got, I think we improved as the season went on. And actually, we had a lot of belief in here, and we felt we had a really good team and could have done something deep in the playoffs. Unfortunately, like I said earlier, we came up against a fantastic Columbus team that was, we got to tip our hat to them that they were just a little better than us this year. So saying that, building on the continuity, the consistency, the group, as we're growing, we feel very good about this group. And I hope you guys are able to see that as well, especially towards the end of the season. We came up against, I think, our last 10 games. We had 7 of our last 10 playoff games. And I think our point totals increased to 1.6, which were at 1.4 before that. So we're looking forward to next year and just building on this base of what we have and continue to push forward, trying to achieve our goals with that top 4. So definitely very interesting. It's a decent summation. I mean, I think he's acknowledging that, yes, there were tough years, and, I think it is pretty transparent. But what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, as I've said before, it's Garth really trying to see how Pineda will perform under a full complement of what he considers to be a complete roster rebuild rather. Because, in his mind, the guy gets to the playoffs with half decent teams, more so than not when he's not crippled by incredibly freakish seasons of, insane amounts of injuries. And he probably goes, well, if he could do that much with that little, then perhaps if I give him a full complement of a good team, he could go all the way. That's probably what I think he's thinking. Because, I mean, Gonzo, obviously, you hear the way he talks. You hear how eloquent he is when he talks about soccer. I mean, maybe some people disagree, but I don't think you're really paying attention if you think he's like a moron or something. But, I think when he talks with Garth hears, okay, this guy has a plan, has an idea. It sounds good. And if I give him the right tools, he can probably produce. And so that's probably what they're going to run with. And if it goes any beyond that, like if I don't even know, maybe even halfway into the season, if he's just not doing well with what Garth would consider to be a full complement, maybe he's like, okay, all right, this experiment's run its course. But then it's like that comes with its own issues. You've already committed to Gonzalo for the next season, at least part of it, and you now brought in the new players in the off season that were partially Gonzo's guys. And if you bring in a new coach halfway into the season or next season, now you have a new coach having to acclimate to a full complement of players that were, Gonzo's guys. So that can be difficult. It can be, it could be a good thing if Gonzo really does have the potential, which, I mean, I think there's a chance he does. A lot of people talk about he knows nothing about coaching and makes all these horrible mistakes. I mean, the guy is capable of learning. I would hope that we see some things implemented next season. Part of me thinks the reason why he didn't make some of the obvious decisions that he probably should have in some of the games that seemed to cost us, a lot of times I think that his hands were a bit tied, that he thinks this is the best we're going to get, because if I try to do the thing that everyone's going to suggest, it's just not going to work. I know this because of background information or the things like that. So I think the guy's smart. We'll see what he does this season with a considerably better roster. All these like holes that we have, plugging them up in the offseason, hopefully. And if he does it, Garth and everyone was kind of right about that. And then if he doesn't do it, then, well, I guess, I don't know. He just wasn't the guy. I don't know. Like, I guess he's like, he talks the talk, he walks the walk in some cases. I just feel like if he doesn't do it, it's going to be a little surprising to me if he doesn't do a full complement next season.
Yeah. And yeah, it's great points, man. It's definitely, ultimately, the continuity is pretty important. But yeah, like if he doesn't perform, I think that's where the leash will get a little shorter. And, we'll see. It's just basically this offseason is a really, really big one. And, as well, like one of the players that I think sticks out as well from that list is Shauna Silva, of course, with his loan. And I think we spoke about our thoughts last week, but just to kind of reiterate, I mean, Shauna Silva with his loan expiring, would you have or like pretty much, would you move him on a permanent transfer to Atlanta United?
If it requires a DP spot, I would say no. I think we can get a at least similar player for a TAM deal. If not better. Zonde's great and all, but I don't think he's DP level. Especially with the profile and the amount of money the war chest Atlanta United has, that I feel like you should get a pretty heavy hitter for your DP, and Zonde unfortunately is not that.
Yeah, fully agreed. Yeah, it's pretty much very, very similar. Like essentially, you have Inter Miami getting the likes of Lionel Messi, right? It's and we have, if not some of the, or if not the best spending power in the league, and so our ability to be able to find somebody that's can be on a level of at least in the stratosphere of a Lionel Messi, I think we should be able to do that if we wanted to. Maybe it's not really the MO. We're still going for guys that's it's more in their prime in the league. They want to come here. They don't want to leave. That type of thing. But still, it is. You're curious. Like, I'm at least curious to see what if we did, because I guess our biggest European player, I guess in a sense, is Brad Guzan coming from the Premier League. It's a bit I think we can probably do a little bit more than that, I think. And so it's definitely very, very interesting. But yeah, Boca, he also mentioned that while they things can change a little bit, they plan on having Thiago Almada back for 2024, and they briefly had their discussion, speaking of Brad Guzan, with him, and he's still talking over with his family, letting the emotions cool down from the end of the season, but they will open up conversations soon. But I mean, Brad Guzan, that is a big conversation. Obviously, he took a little bit of a step back last year, or this past year, and unfortunately has been kind of his form sliding in terms of his shot stopping as the years have gone on. I mean, it's wild. I mean, he's been here 7 years. Like that's insane. But yeah, what do you think about Brad Guzan? Like, what's the situation in your head for you? Like, what should we keep him? Should we oust him? Should we? I think we kind of spoke about it last episode, but obviously with the kind of a little bit new revelation that conversations are still happening.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know how I'll feel with either, having it all either way, him going, him staying. Ideally, like I said last week, you keep him on in a small role with a significant pay cut, unfortunately, but it is what it is. With him being more of a mentor goalkeeper that maybe plays like a third or a half of the season, whereas a new goalkeeper who's the up and coming, what's the word? The heir to the throne. This new goalkeeper would be able to play like, minimum half of the season or something like that, and be pretty good, be serviceable, at least as good as Guzan. And then in the next seasons going after that, he picks up steam, he becomes the goalkeeper that we need, and then Guzan goes off into the sunset in the year following, after he's imparted his wisdom and he's moves on to maybe as like some part of Atlanta United's front office or something, or like we speculated, he has a gift for broadcast. So those are the kind of things. That's what I would ideally like to see, but I have a hard time imagining he'll do that, step into a minimal role, but maybe we'll see.
Yeah, and it's also the difficulty of finding the player that would accept that a little bit. And maybe you might have some younger player that's maybe hasn't exactly gotten a foothold, but is willing to kind of split a little bit of time with Guzan. Okay, there might be that out there, but yeah, it's really it'll be so interesting to see what happens.
The long shot Christmas present type idea. I don't think it's gonna happen, but
yeah, for sure. But and I think that kind of maybe explains why Quentin Westberg is still kind of being negotiated with, because it's a little bit of the, okay, well, if Brad Guzan does stay, do we keep Westberg? What do we do? Like, and so, yeah, lots to ponder there. But
also, with the Thiago comments you mentioned, what did you think about that? That they are expecting to have him next season. Yeah. Does that mean they weren't able, like the offer didn't come in that they wanted?
Well, I think it's also where the January transfer window hasn't happened yet. And so, in terms of that, there's, there were some interest over the summer transfer window, but I think ultimately, I think they wanted to see pretty much how the new players worked with the player that they were building around. And, I think they were able to see it that, yeah, okay, this has a ton of potential. But, yeah, I mean, I think as well, I think barring some of the, biggest teams in the Prem, the spend across Europe, apparently, anyway, was a little bit lower than it normally was. So, I think that ability to be able to get the right offer, it probably has to come from the Premier League, because, yeah, like Thiago Almada, if he's not going for anything less than 30,000, then yeah, I just can't see like a La
30
Liga
million.
Team. Yeah, like a La Liga team or a Serie A team, like paying that much. So they just don't historically do that, and at least on MLS players. So it's tough. Like I think to be able to find the right suitor, it's gonna take some time. So, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm happy to have him until then. So.
Oh yeah, exactly. I don't think we're complaining at all. That oh my God, another year of Almada. Oh,
I know.
God. Like it's not Josetu we're talking about anyway. But
yeah, don't twist my arm. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Bocanegra. Speaking of midfield, said that they will look to add more players in midfield. Obviously, of course, in terms of the midfield corps right now, you have the two U22 players in Franco Ibarra and Santiago Sosa, and they, I think, are very close to graduating out of that. So, some decisions will need to be made on those two. Franco Ibarra, probably a little bit more likely. Santiago Sosa, it'll be interesting to see if he stays, as he just completely fell out of favor after Inter Miami. And so, it's I don't think he's going to stay. I think we're probably going to try to get some, if we have some value, we'll try to get something for him. But, Ajani Fortune as well, the other midfielder, and Tristan Muyumba. There's plenty of space for new midfielders to come in. But, as well.
A DP. A DP for the love of God, for my kingdom, for a midfield DP.
Yeah, and unfortunately, news came out as well that Darlington Nagbe, he signed an extension with Columbus Crew, which of course, he was always going to.
Which of course he did.
It's basically, they're well on their way. They, obviously the playoffs are still happening, and though I think, they have as good of a chance as anybody else. So, but anyway, Bocanegra, he also mentioned that LA United, they are not pursuing David Martinez. So, the player that was rumored to us, that is on loan to River Plate and is, I guess, it's strange to say this, but property of Defensa y Justicia. Not in the cards. So definitely seemed like just maybe more of an empty rumor than anything else. But are you a little what's your reaction to David Martinez, that rumor not actually being?
I'm not bothered by him being not coming to us at all. Like, when we kind of looked over him a little bit when we first heard about him, we thought like perhaps this guy would be like a Parata replacement. Mm-hmm. So it's not exactly a guy who's going to light up the league or anything. This is like borderline depth piece kind of player. It's not like this was an essential piece that we were going to need for the rebuild. So it's when it came and then it left, I was like, who cares anyway.
Exactly. And I mean, because on the heels of that, I think there is a rumor of LGP going to Inter Miami possibly, and so definitely very, very interesting. His understudy David Martinez would have been, I think he's probably the beneficiary of that, so I don't really see why he would move if he could get that playing time at River Plate. But lastly, on all the moves and Carlos Bocanegra, he said that he will be back as the CSO in 2024. And regarding his long-term future with LA United, he said, quote, "I really enjoy my time here. Very, very happy here. I just want to help contribute and do what I can to get this club on that right path and hopefully win some championships." So, what are your thoughts after hearing that?
I mean, that's what an executive says when asked these questions. So I'm expecting that type of word salad of things. But it is what it is. In regards to his comments, I'm not really reading into any of that or really caring. I just his existence with us in general has been something that has had a pretty negative and dark cloud over it for a while now. And, if there was a time, and I kind of still feel this way, that we could be perfectly fine without him. Yes, he is integral for Gigi and Tristan and signing these better players that we got in the last transfer window, but are you really going to tell me if we went out and bought a very, very good high-level technical director that he wouldn't have been able to do similar things? I think he probably would have. It would be hard for me to understand that Carlos Bocanegra is just the only one who can do what he's doing for us. I just don't see it. So, that, and based on his previous misses before Garth got here and put us in what they would consider, I mean, the fact that we have to go through a rebuild to me means he has royally screwed up. So, thus, it's like, it wouldn't have killed us if we got onto a new technical director. So that's the way I feel about it.
Yeah, and that's an incredible point there. I mean, it's basically, yeah, if we're looking across the league, it's like, yeah, I think there are other technical directors that have done a better job than him on a more consistent basis. And yeah, it's not like he is indispensable. And that is the thing here, is like his job security here. Of course he's very, very happy here. Of course he's enjoying his time here. He's been able to F up time and time again. And yeah, not really see any sort of consequence. So yeah, I mean, I guess the consequence is that, yeah, he's not exactly the most loved figure at the club. And he probably knows that, unfortunately. But he probably also knows that it comes with the territory. But
right.
You know, it is ultimately, I mean, I think if I'll give him anything, his poise has been admirable. You know, like, yeah, any lesser person maybe would have responded to all the, you know, the vitriol, the online hate and all that, but you see mostly a lot of pretty, like, actually, you know, either neutral or positive stuff coming from his mouth. You know.
Mostly, I'll agree. There was a bit of a crack with the Joseph Martinez stuff.
Yes.
But yeah, mostly I agree with you.
Right. Yeah, and a little bit of crack there, but I think, yeah, more or less, though, I think, yeah, that's like both sides just being, yeah, very low-key taking shots at each other. But yeah, it is ultimately, you know, Bocanegra, he will be here for another year at least. And yeah, we as fans should just support in at least that, like hoping he does well, but also being critical when he does not. But
exactly.
But yeah, moving on from all of that, yes, the international window is happening right now, of course, as well. And Yorgos Yakomakis, he was playing for Greece, and he got a goal. Yeah, definitely he has been, I don't even know, like, he's kind of, yeah, just been on a really good goal run. And it's carrying over to not only from club, but over to country as well. And speaking of that as well, Thiago Almada, he scored a free kick against Japan for the U22s, and he just makes it look so effortless. It's like this thing was like almost floated in there, and the goalkeeper still couldn't do anything about it. I mean, it's just outrageous. It's
and somehow Argentina still gets clobbered that game by Japan.
Yeah.
Japan, can we talk about Japan for a sec? This country, in terms of their progress, has been amazing. Mm-hmm. Like they're dominating at like every level. It's I'm impressed. I'm very impressed with Japan.
Right. And I think you have, what, Jurgen Klinsmann? Like, he is over there. And so it's definitely fascinating, like, how he's been able to help that country. And as well, I mean, it's just like you hear the likes of, and we're going to go on a little bit of a tangent here, but like Mitoma from Brighton, who basically, he wrote an essay about how to dribble past players. All right, and not only that, like, he's perfected it in a sense at Brighton. Like, his ability to beat his man on the dribble is actually something that, like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I have watched some of his, like, either highlight reels or like some reels, you know, like YouTube reels, where he explains how he beats a man, and it's just like it's really incredible stuff. Like, they are like scholarly about it, and it's amazing. But
guys dropping scholarly articles on people, it's insane, man.
It's just like, oh my god, like that, and that's just like, a drop in the bucket probably of what they do. So yeah, really incredible stuff. But yeah, anyway, so moving on from that, Atlanta United 2, they announced their end of season roster moves as well. And in addition to Alan Carlton and Jonathan Bilal, who are already under contract for 2024, they exercised contract options for Matias Gallardo and Kareem Tamimi. Of course, Matias is the son of Marcelo Gallardo, who is now going to coach in Saudi Arabia.
What a tease!
I know.
What
right?
a tease!
Yeah. Yeah, it's so annoying. But yeah, I mean, at the very least, we have his son, and
make it sound like it's a ransom thing.
Yeah. At the very least, we have his son, and he can't do anything about it. No, basically though, it's like, he obviously realizes, Marcelo Gallardo, that we're a class organization. Otherwise, he wouldn't let his son come over here. So, it's I think there might be some in the future if he ever forgives MLS. He hates MLS. But anyway, so Luke Brennan, Nick Firmino, and Aiden Torres each had their MLS Next Pro contracts for 2023 and will join the first team effective on January 1st. The club also declined options on Fuad Adeni and David Mejia, and Sebastian Laguerre, Emenike Nwagu, Nelson Orji, Tony Tiente, Kofi Tuamasi, and Tyler Young are all out of contract, but they remain in active discussions with Tuamasi. And yes, MLS loan for Chris Gloucester also expired at the end of the 2023 season. So yeah, Centennial, Eric Centennial, he's still under team control. So yeah, there's a little bit of some of a team. They will probably have to fill it out with academy players and some other players around some of the other lower leagues probably. But yeah, definitely, I think the news there is that a player like Nick Firmino, like, he will now be a first team player. So that's the standout player, obviously. And I think everybody else, they have some really good promise. Luke Brennan, Alan Carlton, I think probably in particular, and of course Aiden Torres. But yeah, you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, you love to see it. Reward for your hard work and for performing. So that's really good. I mean, like, people kind of remember Luke Brennan from like his hot moment a little while ago for the first season. So like, and then obviously Firmino did his things. We know what he's capable of. So it's exciting to see those guys get, the look for what they've done.
Indeed. So yeah, hopefully as well, the Atlanta United 2 season will go a little bit better than last season. But yeah, they weren't able to make the playoffs, of course. But moving on from that, the Atlanta United podcast that they've been dropping about the history of soccer in Atlanta, featured the Atlanta Chiefs a little bit, and some of our Discord members, our lovely Discord members, pretty much pontificated about maybe if we were able to incorporate the Atlanta Chiefs into our third kit, which we seemingly are able to get most years, if not every year up until who knows. But yeah, definitely would be fascinating if we were able to kind of get a little bit of that history of Atlanta in there. And what better way is, kind of the OG of Atlanta soccer. But yeah, what elements would you maybe like want to see?
The color scheme is cool. I like the color scheme from the original Chiefs jerseys. I also like the insignia with the Chief head, with the headdress and everything. But obviously that's going to be hard to incorporate into, because it's,
Yeah.
It's their logo, as it would be a little difficult, but like,
Yeah.
I don't know how they would do it. I think the potential is there. I think it could be pretty fire, but I don't know. We'll have to see. I mean, what is it going to be, Adidas? So we'll see how Adidas. And I mean, 404 was great. So I'm not a huge fan of some of the other ones they've done in the past for us, but 404 knocked it out of the park, I think. So there's some reason to be a little optimistic about it if they decide to go down this road.
Yeah. I think, the typeface obviously would be, for me anyway, something that I would like to see incorporated, and maybe it's Atlanta in that kind of typeface. But, and the color scheme a little bit as well, I think would be very dope with the kind of cream and the red. But obviously the Chiefs as a moniker is problematic nowadays. I mean, it was back then too, but obviously, with the the
our
Indians.
baseball team is the Braves.
Exactly, and you have that. You have of course, the Washington, football team as well. It's basically the whole like Redskins, all that type of stuff is very not in vogue, and so I don't think that will be the aspect, but like aforementioned, those things with the typeface color scheme, that'd be dope. But anyway, so that's the news for this week, and let's get into the mailbag. And you guys added these questions on Instagram story, and please continue to do so, and we might answer your question in the future. But first question comes from PM Steel 99. I think it's a pretty straightforward question. Also Terminus United 83. They are asking, will Miles and Almada return? Do we re-sign Miles and Silva? I think we kind of covered it, but Almada will return. Miles, who knows? Recommended that he doesn't. And re-sign Silva. Yeah, we kind of mentioned that. Okay, let's see. In terms of, I mean, you just get a lot of hate here. Obviously, it just happens. But Ali with 4 E's and underscore HH. Why is Pineda still our coach? What do you think?
I think it was the reason I stipulated earlier about the way Garth is looking at the situation. So I think the gamble is, like I said, that Pineda is actually a capable coach. He just needs the right tools to do it. So perhaps if he gets the right complement of players, which Garth is, foreseeably going to provide, and Carlos, that then he could take this team from, 7th place or whatever we were in, and take it up to a competitive level on, going for first. I guess that's the gamble. If he flounders and if the team just doesn't do well, and it's clearly not the players, and it's probably the system or what Pineda's doing, then I think it's quite fair to say, okay, Garth was wrong about Pineda. I was kind of wrong about Pineda in that way too, because I think that he has potential. I think he can probably do decently well with a solid team. However, it remains to be seen. I can be wrong here. I'm not. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time, and it wouldn't surprise me either. But I don't know. I would side with someone like Garth Lagerwey, who probably knows a lot more about this stuff than I do. But we'll see.
Yeah.
I like we say in Discord all the time, our fate is in Garth's very capable, strong goalie hands now.
Yeah, indeed. And I think, a lot of the angst right now is coming from the playoff exits, maybe the game one tactics, as well as, kind of the overall pretty much record, which is not fantastic. But in terms of, Pineda, I would use this metaphor basically, and kind of similar to what you're saying in terms of the tools. He's basically if he if he's a an axeman, like a person that cuts down trees, okay, and you give him a blunt axe, which is essentially what 2021 was, or sorry, 2022, and so it's like, how is he supposed to cut down trees with a blunt axe? It's just like the version that we got this year. We finally gave him a tool to sharpen his axe mid-season, and he showed that, okay, yeah, we have the ability to play pretty good ball with all of them in terms of the DP players and our best 11. But yeah, I think now it's to go along with the metaphor. Okay, we've given you the tools, and we're going to continue to give you more of the tools to be able to sharpen this axe, but now you have to kind of continue and make sure that you are making sure your axes continue to stay sharp. And if he doesn't, that's where that leash will become shorter. But
I think just to kind of add to what I was talking about, I think it'll be really important to see what Garth says is the expectations for next season after they're done kind of grabbing players and adding to the roster. If they say, like, it's championship, or competing for a championship, or this was a failure, I think that will say a lot. Then it'll be like, okay, Garth believes they have what they need to succeed. And then if Pineda does not do that, then that reflects on Pineda as being probably because, like, it's never just one thing. So it would be like he would be, in terms of percentages, a larger percentage of the problem than the other variables on the team.
Agreed. All right, so next question. Alex Brunel 08. Favorite moment of this season, and anything in particular you're excited for next? That's a good question. It kind of puts you on the spot, but yeah.
No, I have it already loaded up in my head. So it's the free kick and just the crazy game against. Well, I thought I had a little bit, because, like, now I'm thinking about, there's two. So there's two. There's what was the Portland free kick, right, from Thiago? That was the holy hell kind of goal.
Yeah, from the parking lot. Yep.
Yeah, from the parking lot. And then the San Jose game was absolutely insane, with two buzzer beater basically goals. Like, that was just unfreaking believable. Like, that was magical. Like, that's definitely, I think probably the San Jose game was the one that, like, oh my god, that was a way to whet your appetite for a season.
Right.
I don't know if we're gonna get that again, but that was something else.
Indeed. Yeah, no, that's a really great shout, because I think it set the tone for the season of, like, oh, okay, yeah, like, we're gonna have some last moment magic, like we always do, but that was on a different level for sure. Yeah, the free kick from the parking lot definitely is amazing. I think it's got to be our first outing in the 404 kit. I think it was like, oh man, ooh, like, okay, are we back? Like, that game, I think kind of really, as well, like, it kind of really made it where, like, every time we played in the 404 kit, like, we were lights out,
undefeated.
Yeah, like, and scored a lot of goals. So, to cheat a little bit, favorite moments, the 404 kit. But
any moment we had the 404 kit.
Exactly. And yeah, anything in particular you're excited for next? I mean, I'll cheat a little bit again. Looking forward to more playing in the 404 kit, because it's just, if we can continue to do that, I mean, hell,
they have to. I mean, just the amount of, like, promotion materials they put into it, the amount of effort and money, and how successful it was. I feel like it would be a big mistake to not push an advantage you already have. So I don't know. That's the way I would see it. My thing I'm looking forward to, if Atlanta can do it, it would be great, but more away wins next season. That's what I want to see. That's going to be a huge indicator of whether or not this team can compete. Because you get in, a situation like we have with this tournament where we didn't win enough games, so we had to play 2 away, and then all of a sudden, yeah, you can be like world beaters at home, but if you stink away, it's like, well, then you're out of the tournament, even if it's to a lesser team. So I want to be able to see us strike fear into other teams in their own homes again. That's something I have not seen in a while, and I really want to get that back again, because the dominating teams in MLS can do that. And everyone is afraid when that team comes to town, and that's what I want to be again.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, because that's our 2018. That's when we won 10 games away on the road, and yeah, it was just like, yeah, it doesn't matter who you are. Like, we're gonna get a result here, and that's exactly that type of ethos that we should be aiming for. Next question comes from Danny Phantom with 2 Ys. Would you prefer an older, more experienced goalkeeper or a younger, promising prospect goalkeeper?
Yeah, it depends on like how we end up going about it. So if Brad is out completely, then I would probably replace him with an experienced veteran goalkeeper. If it's the kind of hybrid system I was talking about with the young upstart, combined with Brad, then that's the way I would do that one. I don't know which one would be better. It really depends on who you can get in both options. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's still MLS, so the ability to get a kind of like modern goalkeeper, like someone that's good with their feet, a sweeper keeper, it's probably gonna be a little less likely. But yeah, I mean, it might be kind of both a little bit, where yes, okay, the older, more experienced, but like depends on how older, more experienced it really is, because MLS, okay, there are a few really much older goalkeepers, but then you have Chicago, who just keep churning out European level goalkeepers that they sell to the likes of Chelsea. It's kind of ridiculous, and it's one of those where, like, okay, well, yeah, we gotta start figuring out kind of where our, I guess, lack of a better word, farm system can come from, so that we can, grow from our academy some of these, these type of players that can kind of just hop into the first team immediately and, not miss a beat. So,
more Caleb Wileys, please.
Yeah, more Caleb Wileys, exactly. But cool. All right, next question comes from Everett Sanders. They took out all the vowels in there, so I'm guessing that's Everett. But they asked new player speculations.
Yeah. So this is pretty vague question.
Sure.
In terms of new player, I don't even want to touch on like what specific player could potentially come here. Again, I want to harp on, and I'm going to continue to harp on this until it happens, that we need a DP presence in the central / defensive midfield. At least a DP in the pairing with Tristan, perhaps. I think that would be stellar. You see other teams who put DPs in those types of positions, you see them do well suspiciously. So I would like to try and do that. I don't know who that would be in particular, but I would like to see that. I mean, and we mentioned as like, fun little thought experiments, like, what player, if you could get anyone. It's like we talked about Luka Modric coming in at one point, and I'd be like, hell yeah, I would do that. Sure. I just like him as a person. And he's obviously world class. So it's like, yeah, sure. Why not?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's, I think the number one move that we need to make for sure. Been needing to make it, but of course with the potential of not only maybe 2 center backs that need to come in, one maybe being a DP, and then potentially, of course, as well, a goalkeeper. needed. Obviously, those are the types of players that we also might need to look at. And with up and down the spine, if you can make those the DP players, and then out towards the outside, you have a little bit more TAM level. I think that's probably what we need to do. But in terms of a player speculation,
just imagine it, AJ. It's goalie passes to a DP, like a defensive midfielder. DP defensive midfielder threads the pass to DP central midfielder. DP central midfielder threads the pass to Thiago Almada. Thiago Almada threads the pass to DP Yorgos Yakimakis, who scores a goal. Like, that's the pathway. That's the way.
Exactly. If we can play that central and up the middle, that would be incredible. Obviously, we would probably destroy a lot of teams. But I think that's the hope. That's what we want. Obviously, there are other teams that will, of course, make that hard for us to be able to do that. But that is the dream, and hopefully we can do that. But anyway, so that is the mailbag for this week, and we appreciate your questions. And yes, make sure to send in your questions so that you might get your question answered in the future. But that pretty much is the episode, except for
two more things. First thing is today's jersey I'm wearing. Last week was Sporting Portugal, if anyone noticed. This week is Algeria's national team, the Desert Foxes.
That's such an awesome name, man. The Desert Foxes, man.
So keep your eyes out for a new jersey until I run out of non-Atlanta United jerseys.
Yeah, which might be kind of soon, but right. We'll find out. We'll find out. I mean,
like maybe eight or so more.
Okay. All right. Yeah. It might last a while. It might last the off season, but So anyway, that is the episode, except for the question of the day. And the question of the day is, what would your dream signing be for Atlanta United? So any player in the world. Obviously, you cannot sign Lionel Messi anymore, but who would it be? Let us know in the comments below. Looking forward to what you have to say. But guys, that is it for us for this episode. We wish you a very, very happy Thanksgiving, and we're absolutely thankful and grateful for all of you, and in our Discord as well, all the daily chatter that's just lights up our day. So we are super appreciative for each and every one of you watching through all of the season and yesteryear. And definitely, it just definitely warms my heart, and I'm sure for Michael as well, that you guys care. So really, really amazing. We love you. And remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. I've been AJ. That's Michael. And we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.